Greetings. My name is Reverend Amantha Barbie. I am the chairperson of the General Assembly Committee on Ecumenical and Interreligious Relations, GACEIR. I am here today in the spirit of Presbyterianism with several members of the committee to share our collective voice. We are here to share our stance on anti-Semitism in response to recent comments on Israel-Palestine made by the stated clerk of the PCUSA. We share our love and our ongoing commitment for service and witness to our denomination and the world, for our Jewish siblings around the world and in our country, and for the work to which we have been called as GACEIR. Our mandate for this work includes that we give guidance to the stated clerk and General Assembly agencies on ecclesial, ecumenical, and interfaith relations, helping to carry out the General Assembly's responsibilities. Therefore, we lovingly offer the following guidance.
Hello, I'm Dr. Heidi Hadsell, a member of the committee and the past chair of the committee. We come today with a shared concern that recent statements that have been made have not been in accordance with the belief, policies, and actions of the Presbyterian Church USA, and offer our guidance. While most, if not all, of the people on our committee share in the passionate belief that the human rights violations perpetrated upon Palestinian people by the government and paramilitary organizations of the State of Israel demand an urgent end, as this perpetrates violence against those made in the divine image of God, we also believe that the language and imagery shared by our stated clerk was, however unintentionally, anti-Semitic, and as such has distracted us from a desired intent to invite all into the necessary justice work that was core to the teachings of Martin Luther King. The following, we feel, would be much more in line with our denominational beliefs. We are responding to the following statement made by the stated clerk. And I quote, "The continued occupation in Palestine, Israel, is 21st century slavery and should be abolished immediately. Given the history of Jewish humble beginnings and persecution, there should be no ambiguity as to the ethical, moral, and dehumanizing marginalization and enslavement of other human beings. The United States of America must be a major influencer of calling this injustice both immoral and intolerable. I would also hope that the Jewish community in the United States would influence the call to join the United States government in ending the immoral enslavement. Dr. King continuously preached the gospel of justice so that all people could live in dignity," unquote.
Hey, y'all, beloveds. I am Reverend Sabrina Slater, a member of the CEIR, and using our Denouncing Anti-Semitism and Islamophobia study document, which was written carefully over 4 years in consultation with our Jewish and Muslim siblings and Palestine Christians through the Israel-Palestine Mission Network, we offer this. First, distinguishing the state of Israel from all Jewish people. Guided by the Jewish Declaration on Anti-Semitism, known as the JDA, we name that, quote, "In regard to Israel and Palestine, anti-Semitism includes applying the symbols, images, and negative stereotypes of classical anti-Semitism to the state of Israel, holding Jews collectively responsible for Israel's conduct," end quote. When there is a connection between the occupation of Palestine with Jewish humble beginnings in their sacred text, there is a call upon all Jewish persons for the wrongful actions of the state of Israel. These two shall not be conflated, as there are many Jewish people working on behalf of Palestine, and there are Jewish people as part of the diasporic community of faith around the world. Jews are not collectively responsible for Israel's conduct. This is anti-Semitism.
Greetings. I'm Brian Paulson, member of the CEIR. We'd further recommend avoiding stereotypes and tropes of Jewish people. We're sending our Denouncing Antisemitism and Islamophobia study document to the upcoming General Assembly. In that paper, we named that any of the JDA examples of things that are not anti-Semitic on the face of it can become anti-Semitic if they include languages or images or actions that are anti-Semitic. The general guidelines include making sweeping generalizations and stereotypes about Jews, which could be presented through words like wealthy, stingy, unpatriotic, source of evil or disease, or through images. Now, these anti-Semitic ideas and images can be explicit or suggestive of stereotypes. Statements like, "We hope that the Jewish community in the United States would influence the call to join the US government in ending the immoral enslavement," support, however unintentionally, tropes that are suggestive of a stereotype that Jewish persons in the United States hold a particular level of influence in the government. According to this JDA definition, antisemitism occurs even when there is the suggestion of a stereotype.
Hello, I am Reverend Christian Choi, a member of CEIR. We would further recommend 3, calling for justice for Palestine without using anti-Semitic language and imagery. Our study document clearly states that it is both possible and essential that the Presbyterian Church USA calls out the human rights abuses in Palestine and avoid using anti-Semitic language and imagery to do so. In response to the statement that Presbyterians have repeatedly affirmed our conviction that the state of Israel has a right to exist as a homeland for Jews, providing a safe haven for all Jewish people, as we also advocate for national self-determination and safety of the Palestinian people, including Palestinian refugees. Presbyterians have spoken out repeatedly to condemn actions of the government of Israel in the occupation of Palestinian land and consistent abuse of the fundamental human rights of Palestinians. Palestinians have lost their land and their homes, the land and homes of their parents, their grandparents, and their ancestors. The occupation and Israeli settlement expansion into Palestinian territory increases Palestinian suffering. It is urgent to critique human rights abuses that are happening through the policies and practices of the government of Israel, and it is possible to do so without questioning Israel's right to exist and without using anti-Semitic language and stereotypes. It is right that Presbyterians call the government of Israel to live up to its democratic ideals. It is right that Presbyterians denounce anti-Semitism whenever and wherever we see it. We can do both. We can do both. We believe it is possible to hold fast and deepen our commitment to justice in Palestine, even as we hold fast and deepen our commitment to our Jewish siblings. This is not a case of choosing justice over relationship or kinship. We agree that hard truths are important in real relationships. We have faith that our Jewish siblings, in all their variety, are capable of an honest, hard conversation regarding Palestine's right to self-determination and survival. But if we enter that conversation using their sacred text against them, conflating the actions of the state of Israel with all Jewish people, and relying upon anti-Semitic imagery and tropes, we have already broken trust with them. We feel that our work is now tainted with that broken trust, especially in light of rising and sustained violence against Jewish persons. That mistrust is experienced as abandonment in the face of the waves of anti-Semitism, continues to cause death in our country and our world. We do not want to in any way abandon our Jewish siblings in Israel and around the world. We do not want to abandon our Palestinian siblings in Palestine and around the world.
Hello, my name is Reverend Whitney Wilkinson Areche, and I am the Vice Chair of CEIR. We fervently agree with the stated clerk that Dr. King had a vision beyond the despair of our nation, that he called for a unity of spirit across the world. He called us to repair the soul of our nation and the world. We as CEIR are about this work. We believe that our stated clerk is also about this work. In order to find intentional and nurturing and sustained paths of communication and collaboration together, supporting everyone's work, not undermining it, CEIR shares this stance on anti-Semitism. We are eager to continue communicating with our stated clerk regarding ways of stating important perspectives on Palestine while avoiding anti-Semitism and continuing to speak out for justice.
Finally, we do offer these words in a spirit of love and hope for the renewal of this world through the careful use of our words and the courageous work of our hands. We pray for the Presbyterian Church USA, her leadership, and we pray for the freedom and self-determination of Palestinian people. We pray for an end to anti-Semitism. We pray for hard-won peace. Thank you.